So I want you to imagine you're on your way home from work. Maybe it's school and you have the best new idea for a manga that will revolutionize the medium as we know it. You get home, excited to write it all out. You start out with blazing energy, only to yawn because you're tired of your long day as you write, and then eventually your phone reminds you that it's time for bed because you have work. Now, this epic story that could change the whole world will have to wait because you're tired and you have work in the morning. And that's the topic of today's video on how to balance manga creation with a full-time job. But before we get into this, if you don't know me, my name is Vandal. I am a self-published mangaka and author of note. My goal is to help other manga and comic book artists with their art and writing skills so they can tell the story of their dreams. So before we get into this video, I just want to say that any and all of these tips can be applied to more than just manga. You can use them for art, you can use them in your daily life when you want to schedule things. Whatever you want to do to achieve your creative dreams, these tips will all work all around. But we're here to make manga, so let's get into it. So the first way that we're going to approach this balance idea is we need first to do the hardest thing, and that is sacrifice. Wait, I don't mean that kind of sacrifice. What we need to do is we need to look and write down what we could possibly be doing or things that are getting in the way of us making manga. For example, I loved going to the arcade to play Dance Dance Revolution. Yes, you know, the Dance Dance Revolution with the arrows, that is me on the screen. I would spend hours just to go play, and then I would spend the whole day there, which was great and it was relaxing. However, it was taking away from the time that I could have been using to draw my manga. And that's not to say that you shouldn't take time to relax, but you need to do the next thing. What you have to do is you have to prioritize your time, something I was not doing. What and when can you do the stuff that you want to do? But if you really want to make and create manga, you're gonna have to put a lot of time aside. To put this into perspective, when I created Note, it took a total amount to create the manga, 1,400 plus drawing hours, and I'm probably skimping on the time. It's probably a little bit more, to be honest. But it took me about 1,400 plus hours to complete my manga, making it from nothing into something, and I only had 4 months to make it, and none of that was easy. None of this is easy, and making manga is not easy. Now this one's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of creators here, but you're going to need to sacrifice and possibly let go of your story a bit. And I know that letting go of your story is like letting go of your baby off a cliff. None of us want to do that. But I think one of the things that is super important is that you actually make something. That is the idea of you maybe having a long 1,000 chapter epic, which is great, but maybe that can wait. I know for myself, I have a story that is 5 different stories that are all interlocking and cross into some amazing epic. But what making a short story has showed me is the value of going through the process and actually creating your story, creating the manga, creating the pictures, and not just talking about it or keeping it in your head or in your book for years until it actually was perfect. Now, in the journey of sacrifice, perfection is something that's gonna have to go to the wayside as well, because you want to attain that balance. Since your time is limited and you have work and you have school and you have other things to do, you have to make decisions that are gonna be difficult. For me, I wanted to make a 100-page story, but the contest for Shonen Jump was really limited. The project I was working on at the time was Infinity Love, and I couldn't use it because it was way too many pages. They only wanted 55. So I decided to make something totally new from the ground up. And if you're interested in that process on how to start your manga, you can take a look at the video on how to start your manga. It's pretty helpful. Once you let go of that perfection in your story and start creating, we can move forward in tackling the more difficult parts. And the most difficult part is time. We need time to make our manga. But what if you don't have any time? Well, there's always time for what we need to do, and the way you can do that is making a schedule. Now let's figure out when our start date will be. Then we'll remember how we talked about, how you can potentially change the scope of your your story, let's put some finality to that bad boy so we can roughly figure out how many pages is it going to be. Is it going to be 10 pages? Is it going to be 50 pages? Try to not go too large because we actually need to finish this time. Every day for myself, I would work on 1 to 1.5 pages a day as my goal over the course of 4 months. That involved pencil and that also involved inking. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to set a daily page goal so we can get somewhere at some point each day, because every little step we take to making our manga is one step closer to actually reaching the goal. A good factor in motivations is deadlines. They're gonna be a great motivating factor because I know people who have some stakes in competition tend to, move a little bit faster. So I want you guys to stick around to the end of the video. I have like a little bit of an announcement that I want to make. I know I'm kind of cutting it in here. I think it has something to do that's really important with deadlines, and I think you'll like it. So stick around till the end. Deadlines will also allow you to see your pace. For instance, if you have 3 months, you know where certain points you need to be in your manga, where you need to have made your story, where you need to have at least penciled, where you need to have inked, so you can actually meet that deadline. So deadlines are a really good pacemaker so you can chart out the flow of how long it's going to take to make your manga. So in your schedule, I want you to take any and all moments that you could actually be working on your manga, and make sure, of course, you account for sleep and rest because we want to be mindful of our health, but take that time that you're mindlessly scrolling on whatever app, or that time you're on TikTok, or whatever your distractions are, take them out because they're not part of our big picture on making the manga that we want to make. Just make sure you take that time and focus on doing something that will forward yourself in making the manga and creating in some way. But make sure you are making and creating. Don't let the fear of creating your manga stop you from actually creating it. So once you have your idea for your schedule, which is the plan for how you're going to use your time, the next is the purpose for actually planning and why you actually want to make this manga. What is your goal with this manga, with the time that you're given yourself to finish and complete a story? Is it to make a long epic? Is it to try and make a short story? Try and determine your goal because it'll make your focus a lot more easier to hone in on. My goal for making Note was to create a story that I was proud of and solid enough that I think could be in Shonen Jump, and I still think it could be in Shonen Jump. What do you think? Now I want you to ask yourself, what is your goal going to be for this project? So during the planning phase and at the end of it all, you're gonna decide this one thing. Should you make a long running story or should you make a short one-shot story? Personally, I chose a short story because of my time constraints, but you can do whatever you want. Don't let me tell you what to do, but make sure you can keep that consistency once you start. I go over some of this in the video about why people aren't reading your manga. Personally, I like short stories because they can create a full experience that ends, and if you wrote your story well enough, it can continue in more short stories. But there's always a finished product at the end, and I'll always advocate for that. But who am I but just a little mangaka on his soapbox? Think about your process. How do you actually go about making manga? Do you draw first, write as you go? Do you plan it out? How are you going to tackle this problem? Having a system to work in creating the type of work that'll be great, you need a system. So for me, my system is always the same. Think about the concept, I flesh out the characters, I do the character designs, I write the story, I create the script, then the storyboard, the pencil, the ink, and then I put the finishing touches. But basically, it's all the things that you can check out right here in this playlist, which is what I've already made for you. Except I haven't gotten to the last part of my process, but basically, the pencil and inking video is coming soon. Don't worry, it's coming. Don't worry, I'll be there. And lastly, in your plan making, don't hesitate to adjust your plans. Make changes as you go, and you'll grow. See? Rhymes, bars. Don't be too set in your own way because that'll stop you from getting faster, changing, and evolving. Just keep changing, look at what's working for you, what hasn't been working, adapt, evolve, overcome. You got this. That wasn't a sponsor, just, it sounded really cool in the moment. All right, moving on. So now again, this might be an obvious recommendation for focus, but what I would recommend for focus time is that you devote anywhere from about 3 to 4 hours a day on your manga. The beautiful part is if you're consistent with this, you will get faster. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be days where you don't get it. It doesn't click with you, but there will be less of those days as you put more time into your manga. Remember, consistency over intensity. So to beat a dead horse, I know, but you gotta really remove those distractions. Turn off your notifications and just focus on your work, because you'll get into this place called the zone. And it's this flow state where I get there sometimes, where it's the best feeling in all the world. You get to make all these decisions that just work. All your artwork clicks, all of your composition clicks, all of your choices just make sense. But it takes time to actually get into the zone. What you need to do is just keep at it. Over time, it'll get easier and easier to get into the zone until the point where your manga is just like a habitual thing that you do every day. And again, I can't stress this enough, but make sure you take time and are mindful to take breaks and reward yourself for all your hard work. I know I've been coming down like, don't do distractions, don't have fun, be me. No. Make sure you are taking care of yourself in those ways, and make sure that you are also having fun while making manga. Take a lunch break sparingly, go on your phone sparingly, and enjoy the world with your friends sometimes. But do everything in moderation and just be consistent is what I'm trying to get this message across as. Take breaks. I know life will get in the way sometimes in your creations. Maybe you missed a day, but just make sure you get back at it. That's all that is. Make sure you don't break the chain. Now, the last point to all of this is don't quit. Too many times I've seen people stop or not make their story for a number of reasons. They're too tired, burnt out, maybe their deadline has passed. I understand that these things happen, but start and finish something, even if it's not perfect in the end. Being a mangaka is hard. Often we all hear of mangaka having to stop because of how hard they work physically and they can't continue because of their health. And the worst part, other than just the health toll that manga takes on them, is that feeling of lack of accomplishment, of not finishing your story, leaving it unfinished or in some way never done, and some cases never started. I think once you let go of perfection, you schedule your time, you create a solid plan, and you make some of those tough sacrifices, you're going to be well on your way to finding that balance you need to work on your manga while going to work or going to school. Now, this is the part that I talked about earlier that I wanted you guys to chime in on, and I really want to help you with this whole creation process. About that thing I talked about earlier in your scheduling and deadlines, I want you to make a manga. So the way to do that is I'm putting out this challenge. Okay, wait, I didn't mean that challenge. But yeah, so I want to say starting from October 2nd, today, to April 21st, I want to see you make a manga. Make a manga chapter 1, make a short story one-shot. Only thing I'll say right now is it can't be more than 55 pages. And whatever you want to make it good. You can put it in color, you can put it in black and white. It's honestly up to you. I want to give you guys about 6 months. That's about 6 months, maybe a little bit more or less. I think that it's more than enough time to make actually something. And April 21st is my birthday, so I want to, you know, do a big stream where I get to read everyone's submissions. I'll do updates along the way, so, you know, follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I'll post a little bit more as it gains more traction. But yeah, the contest ends on my birthday. Put it on your calendars. We'll make it a really big event. I might even throw some money prizes in there. We'll see if we get some sponsors. So now, are you ready for the challenge to make a manga? But yeah, I hope to see a bunch of entrants. I don't know if we will. I'll put a link somewhere where you can sign up and stuff so we can make something huge. Please enter. It would be great. It would be an awesome birthday gift to read a whole bunch of submissions to see if anything that I say was helpful or useful in you guys creating your manga. So yeah, don't let me down, because I'll be disappointed in you or something. I hope that's a little bit of motivation for you. Even if it's just one submission, I'll make sure to read it on stream and give it the best critique ever. But I think that's enough for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope the video was helpful in making your approach to balancing manga, work, and school a bit easier. Just let me know what the most difficult part about this whole balancing act is in the comment section. And what will you gonna make for my whole birthday bash? I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. I know I have something planned, but yeah. Guys, thanks for making it here to the end of the video, but don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and you know, if you want more help making comics and all that stuff, you're in the right place, and hit that bell for notifications when you want to hear things that I have to say. But I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace, boy.